stay on task. We got to stay focused, right? We got to get the main story elements out, and then do a little bit of chat, okay? But if you're meandering, if you're not on point, you're going to lose your focus, and you're going to lose the focus of your listener. So I've passed out a couple of templates to you today. Now these are kind of Mad Lib kind of templates. Okay, I love Mad Libs. Mad Libs are awesome, right? So but think about what Mad Lib is, right? You change the words, you change the story. So it is just a form for you to stay on point. I encourage you strongly, change the wording. Okay? If everybody goes to this pitch fest and uses this, then the producers are going to want to shoot themselves. But this is going to keep you on point, and you're going to see very, very easily how you can change the language. Before we go into it, I want to talk a little bit about the log line, the dreaded log line, and why it becomes so important to people. Okay? Now, my theory about why you need to create a log line, which is basically a one-sentence description of your main story, is so that in a pitching situation, if you have just pitched this one sentence, you've actually done your job. You can relax a little bit. You've gotten your main idea out. If you spend the whole pitch building to the log line, by the time you get there, your listener has imagined their version of this movie. So they could even be disappointed. Oh, I thought it was going to be about aliens. No, it's about a weeping mother. Oh, okay. All right. So get the log line out, but to do it, you've got to create a hook. You have to get the magic of the idea out there. I'm going to read you some right here off my little tiny phone. Okay, here we go. You tell me what this is. The greatest superheroes on the planet are assembled to fight evil, but must first overcome their own differences. What movie?
Avengers.
That's right. A grown man has trouble parting ways with his talking teddy bear.
Ted.
In order to chase down a client with keys to a corporate secret, a troubled man must first travel inside of his dreams. What movie?
Inception.
Inception! Oh, as a string of mysterious killings grips Seattle, a high school girl is forced to choose between her love for a vampire and her friendship with a werewolf. What movie?
Crap.
An arrogant computer genius creates a world-changing social media site in an attempt to get revenge on the woman who spurned him.
Social Network.
Okay, so now notice, you get the hook in there, but there's always a personal angle as well. Think about the Avengers. The greatest superheroes on the planet are assembled to fight evil. There's your hook. Gotta have that. But must first overcome their own differences. There's the human side. Okay? It's not, for Ted, it's not a grown man has a talking teddy bear, which would be serviceable because it's high concept, but it's a grown man has trouble parting ways with his talking teddy bear. See the conflict that's in there? Okay. For Twilight, it could all be about the vampire and the werewolf, and frankly, it is all about the vampire and the werewolf. But we add as a string of mysterious killings here in Seattle. Okay, so we're also adding that grown-up element to it. And for the social network, yes, it could just be about the world-changing social media site, but we add in an attempt to get revenge on the woman who spurned him. So do you see? The hook is there. The emotion is there too. A potential emotional subplot, okay, or something that grounds it in reality. So I'm just saying the log line gets a lot of your stuff in there. But the most important thing, of course, is the big idea, the hook of it. You could not pitch Ted without the talking teddy bear. And you couldn't pitch the Avengers without the superhero element, okay? Now, I gave you a template because I'm big on the templates. And it is for a log line. Now, the reason I gave this to you is because it's very easy for me to say, come up with a log line, but it's hard sometimes to actually do it, trying to fit everything into one sentence. So I've given you 4 ways in. 4 ways in. I'm going to take a look at this myself. Oh. Yeah, I forgot my own. That one. Yeah, thanks. All right. So the first first one is one I've been advocating for many, many years, and many other teachers do too. You'll even see it on some t-shirts here, which is what if, okay? What if is not meant to absolutely have you phrase your log line as what if, but it's a great way to help you find your log line. So, if the idea is what if, oh, look, there's a t-shirt right there. Yeah, what if this amazing thing happened to this interesting person in this unique way, what if, it will help you find what your hook is. Then you would cross off the what if, and you would phrase it as a statement. Does that make sense? So it's a really easy way in. Another way to get into your log line is to think, my script is about. Okay, I know it sounds boring, but what happens is, like in class, I'll ask people for their log line, and they'll start saying, it's about men's inhumanity to men. And I'm like, oh no! What is your script about? My script is about. It's as decent a way to start as any other way. So that's another way in to find your log line. Finding your log line number 3. Ready? Here comes the Madlib part. A blank type of person attempts to story goal by unique method. A blank type of person attempts to story goal by unique method. Type of person, think about flaw plus occupation when you're describing a type of person. So it could be a frustrated writer, okay? It could be a tired teacher, okay? So flaw plus occupation, or personality plus occupation. Attempts to story goal. It's your second act, right? Attempts to do something. This is the movie by unique method. Why am I adding this? Because these days, it's not enough that somebody tries to get the treasure or get the girl. How someone gets the treasure, how somebody tries to get the girl, that is the hook of the movie. Okay? So that's another way in. And then finally, this last way in is for those people who had a project where the backstory before they got into the movie was vital. So somebody was killed in the past, it was the end of the world, post-apocalyptic movies. So after backstory synopsis, a main character description must story goal. Okay, so after the world is destroyed by zombies, okay, so getting backstory synopsis is not always necessary for your projects. But if you have one of those projects where it is, this is a formula for doing so. Okay, do you have to follow any of these? Not at all. As long as it's in one sentence, I'm happy with it. Okay, so I would love for you to formulate your log line. Haha, I'm going to make you work. Your one sentence log line right now. And then I would love to hear some of them. Okay? I'm going to give you 2 whole minutes to do this. Go for it. All right. So let's hear some log lines.
Yes.
All right. Go for it.
My story is about how Vietnam brings together 2 Marines from diverse cultures. One dies and the other faces a new war at home.
Okay, well what you're doing is you're giving away the ending. Okay? I don't want to read this knowing that somebody's going to die. I want to wonder if they will. Okay? So Vietnam brings together 2 soldiers, right, from diverse cultures. Oh, I'm sorry, two Marines from diverse cultures, and then tell me what the 2 cultures are. Now I understand that the movie is going to focus on this relationship, and of course the setting of Vietnam is going to make me wonder if they get through it. Okay? All right. Very nice. Thank you. What?
Then you can talk about the aftermath of the war, or the story at home.
And then you can talk about the aftermath of the war and then the story at home?
He was talking about what happens when they get home.
Okay. Is it a story about when they get home?
Yes.
Okay. So, after returning from Vietnam, this is the backstory synopsis. Right. Okay, so but remember, your movie begins on the second act. Okay? Not pitching your first act. So, after Marines return home from Vietnam, okay, they have to deal with a conflict of cultures as. All right? So that's going to give more of your movie than just the idea that we've got two Marines from different cultures, Vietnam. It's going to sound like a war story otherwise. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Why am I doing this? I'm like, I really want you to hear me. It's so important. So you know what I'm going to do, though? I will keep this and I'll give it to everybody, so you don't have to run around. Thank you. All right. So another long line.
This is a comedy. It's a story about a Messiah-like figure coming back and no one believes him. So he starts writing a script, and along the way he meets a comedian who's been kicked out of the monastery for smoking marijuana.
Okay. 1 second. Move on. All right. Okay, so, you know what? Actually, you're going to have to say it one more time. We'll figure out how to do this. Go ahead.
It's a comedy about a Messiah-like figure who comes back to the earth.
Okay, a Messiah-like figure comes back to the earth. Keep going.
No one believes him, so he writes a script.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way he meets up with a comedian who's been kicked out of or a monk who's been kicked out of the monastery.
Okay. All right. So, how about this? A comedian and a monk help what was he? Help a Messiah who is not believed by society write the script that will make the world understand. Something like that. But it's a road trip. Of course it is. So the idea, do you understand why the log line's important now? Okay, because I'm finding your story and I shouldn't be. You should tell me right up front. And you don't have to say it's a comedy about, okay? After we've got a Messiah and a monk on a road trip with a comedian, time tells me it's a comedy, okay? So it's you want these three characters to go on a road trip to do something, okay? Whatever their goal is. That's going to be your log line, all right? Okay, somebody else. Here you go.
A cowboy with nothing left to lose and a reverend with nothing but faith head west in the California gold rush to find treasure more precious than gold.
Ooh, nice. Very good. All right, you hear it? Right? It's right there. Okay, so that would really make me want to know what that treasure is, and in the pitch, you can go on to be more specific. Very good. Over here. There you go.
3 children of light who live in a magic forest are enticed by a wizard into a shadowy world where he attempts to capture their souls.
Okay. All right. Very good. And you know what's interesting is I don't even have to know what a child of light is. Right. You've just put it in context with wizards, and I'm getting a sense of the project. Very nice. Here you go.
A rogue professor runs guns to fund dangerous science experiments on humans that may save his dying daughter. Mad Max meets Blade Runner.
Okay, so you can cut it after saves dying daughter. Now, in the actual pitch, as we go through, you'll have an opportunity to compare it to something, but also be careful of that whole meets thing. It's a little bit dated. Okay, Mad Max meets. Okay, there's going to be other ways to express it, but very, very good log line. It makes me want to see the movie. It's good stuff. Okay. I'm sorry.
A young black reporter infiltrates the Klan by posing as a member to uncover the truth behind his missing grandfather.
Very good. Can you say it one more time? It was a little fast.
A young black reporter infiltrates the Klan by posing as a member to uncover the truth behind his missing grandfather.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. Good. So we have his profession. We have what his method for finding this out. And we understand that there's a mystery to find the truth. Very good. Very good. Okay, do you mind putting that over there? Thanks.
A young psychiatrist attempts to save his patients by working with one of the aliens who have been abducting them.
So it's almost like a Hannibal Lecter kind of story, right? But he's talking to an alien instead. I like it. I like it. Actually, I want you to pass it right down to that dude. There you go. I'm sorry, I just called you a dude. I don't know what's wrong with me. Woman in my 40s, I should know better. Go ahead.
A con artist takes over a rundown casino in Las Vegas, not knowing he's not the only one in the staff who has no clue.
Okay, say it one more time at the beginning.
A con artist takes over a rundown casino in Las Vegas, not knowing he's not the only one in the staff who has no clue.
Interesting. No, has no clue. He has a clue, right?
He has no clue.
He has no clue that he took over a casino?
No, he has, but he has no clue how to run it.
Oh, okay. So really the hook is not that he's the only one who doesn't know how to run it. The hook is that but he has no idea how to run this thing. The hook is that he has no clue how to run it. Forget about that other person, okay? So I think you really had me with the con artist takes over this casino, but has no idea how to run it, okay? That's the hook, okay? Very, very nice. Very nice. You guys are really giving me great log lines here. Here you go.
An alien predator invades a remote desert whorehouse, forcing the hookers and johns to band together in their common goal of survival. It sells itself, right?
It absolutely does. Here's some money. There you go. All right. All right, here you go.
While we're on the theme of sex, PhD mom and sex therapist sells and smuggles toys to help stop sex trafficking in the Ukraine and Moldova.
Interesting, interesting. Is this based on a real event? Okay, very good. Now imagine how you got these log lines. Think of how provocative they are. Okay, right up front, you kind of are telling somebody that story. Now you can take a breath, and you can either go on to say how you got there, or you can spring off of the log line with more of a pitch. But you've already got them involved. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that you're not going to sit down and chat for a little bit. Hey, where are you from? I'm from so-and-so. Really, what brought you here? Well, this is what brought me here. And really, that very thing inspired me to write this movie that I'm going to tell you. Okay? Make sure you get them back on track so that you can pitch this thing. But logline usually comes first. We're going to go into the other elements of the pitch. I know I would love to hear everybody's logline, but I want to make sure that you get all the information that you came for. So, good. I'll put the mic in there. I know. I'm teaching this, but I didn't say it was right. All right. Here we go. So we've got our log line right up front. Everybody look at the minute pitch here. Okay? Here's where it gets a little mad-libby, and like I said, I urge you, change the actual language I've given you. Title of script, if you don't have one, come up with one now, is a specific genre, okay? So not just a comedy or a drama, it's a romantic comedy, it's a courtroom thriller, okay? Specific genre. I'm sorry, it's the front page of the packet of the minute pitch? Yeah. Everybody got it? Okay. Yeah, let's look at plot summary part. There you go. Sorry, because we already did the log line. So now we're moving down to plot summary. Sorry, I go quick. Is a specific genre in the vein of similar film or project. Now the reason I'm suggesting in the vein of is because there's so many differences between genres and mediums these days. If you said you were doing a hospital drama, well, it could look and feel like ER, or it could look and feel like Scrubs. Those are completely different. Okay? So, in the vein of similar film or project. It follows a description of main character. So again, think law plus occupation or personality plus occupation. Now I added in the supporting character and a description of supporting character. I added it in here so that we can get a sense of some kind of natural subplot that's building between the main character and the supporting character. But that may not be right for your particular pitch to add this person in. Okay, so by all means, cut them out if that doesn't work for you. But if there is that other element and you find yourself in a pitch going, oh, wait a minute, but there's also a beautiful girl. Okay, bring her right into the script. Okay, right into the pitch. Sorry. As they second act activity. Okay, as they do something. Okay, not as they think about something or feel something or believe in something, as they do something. It's a movie or a TV pilot. Stuff is going to happen. We're going to see. So, as they second act activity. Challenges occur when? All right, because we can't just have somebody who's doing stuff and doing it well and succeeding or everything's over, right? So, challenges happen. Challenges occur when? And now this is usually at the midpoint. There's a big challenge. Or that second act low point. Okay? Usually the antagonist strikes back. the antagonist strikes back in some way, or there's pushback in the goal, or there's conflict with each other. It could be that romance gets in the way. Romance is a huge complication. Okay? So you know what it is that pushes back in this whole pitch. We're following these people, they're trying to do this thing, but challenges occur when? And now they must third act strategy. Okay, now they must do this thing. I would even add or face potential consequences. I would even write that in. Now they must third act strategy or face potential consequences, which you would write in. Now the reason I'm asking you to end it with third act strategy instead of saying, and then they go do this thing and live happily ever after, right? Or one of the Marines dies, is because you want to pitch this so that your listener wants to read it. They're not buying the pitch. Okay? They're hearing you make an argument for how cool your script is so that they can read it. Okay? If they're not interested in the summary of it, they basically say, okay, well, that sounds great, we're not really looking for that, and you have to move on. So you want to make it something that they really want to read. Now, if they love it so much that they say, and, tell me more, tell me the ending, by all means do. Don't say Pilar told me not to. But for now, you can leave them with this cliffhanger of third act strategy or face potential consequences. Now, let's turn the page for a second to the talking points. After you've gone through this story part of it, okay, there may be, you might get this. Okay, all right, okay. Now, if you feel that you've pitched the meat of your story and you don't want to go back in and explain more, you might want to pitch a little bit of what makes this special. A unique approach or some kind of hook is something that's out of the box, so to speak, is something that people are looking for all over the place. Yes, they want something that feels familiar in terms of genre, but they also want something they've never seen before. So, this movie is unlike any in its genre because of, okay, that could be something that you're expressing. Now, also, if you have time, working in a specific scene or set piece that you can leave them with to really hear this. That works as well. Audiences will love moments such as specific scene or set piece. Again, change the language. Everybody sits down and goes, audiences will love moments such as, again, right? I'm done. All right? So you can express it any way that you want. Like, oh, wait, there's this great scene. Let me tell you about it. Okay? All right, you'll have one already worked out. And they will particularly respond to theme or message. Now, I added this part because sometimes you have projects that you've written and want out in the world because of the message that's in the script. So if you're one of those people, then you can sort of close out by talking about the message in the script or the themes in the script and why those are important. Now, if this is Ted, I don't think I would end the pitch about talking about the theme or the message, right? Okay, so it really depends on the genre that you're in. So those are just some of the talking points that you could bring out while people are nodding and saying, I want more. Because with this minute pitch, it really is only a minute. Now, I want you to feel free to, when you go into the minute pitch, expand upon it. You don't have to just list and fill in the blanks I gave you because it's an ad lib. You can use that section to expand. So, for example, if you're following a description of a main character, you can talk more about that main character if you feel that it's important to do so. Second act activity, you can list a variety of things. Or go into the activity plus the method, plus a few more beats if you want to. Okay? And then when the challenges occur, by all means, start to talk about your antagonist and work in those challenges. They can be emotional and they can be physical. So there is room to expand here. Okay? But if you have many, many projects, you might want to keep it simple, wait for questions, answer a couple of them, and move on to the next one. So this could be as short or as long as you'd like. Does that make sense? Yeah? All right, so that is for feature. We've also got one for TV and we have one for representation. But before we go on to TV, I would love to take any questions that you have so far. Yes?
I was just thinking, would you ever start out talking about why they were particularly responding, why audiences?
Absolutely. If you want to start by saying you think that this is something audiences will particularly respond to because you believe that is the thing that makes your idea different from everybody else's, fine. But you don't want to start by saying, let me tell you how an audience thinks.
Yeah.
Okay? The demographic responds to, because they know all that stuff. Okay? But yeah, sure, if you think that would be a good lead-in, feel free to mix and match these elements. As long as you hit these elements, I think you're doing okay. Yeah?
What about, can you ask why, can you tell them why you wrote it?
Why you wrote it, if, yes. Definitely talk about why you wrote it if, let's say, it comes from some kind of real-life event, and that gets you into it really well. And often with autobiographical things, or where you're doing a real-life subject, you sit down and you go, yeah, I've got this project, and I wrote it because I found out about this thing, and then I imagined, boom, now you're in. Okay?
You're into the log line, or you always say log line?
And then you're into the log line. Yes, yes. You can get into this any way that you want, but you want to hit that log line as quickly as you can. Okay, yes, you had a question? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If your script has an entirely different world with a different set of rules, is it all right to contextualize that first before getting into the log line?
Did you notice how when that gentleman said that these were children of light, and there was a wizard, and he called, I don't even know if he called this the environment something, but he could have. We will understand, in the context of telling the story, what that world is. What I worry about sometimes when you world build right up front, that you get so carried away with it that you lose all your pitch time. And again, the producer gets so excited by the time you get to what the log line is, they're like, oh, okay. Okay, so, if you want to, you could start with it, but be, descriptive, and then move on. Okay, don't go on too much. Yes?
The description of the main character, what if it's an ensemble piece?
Okay, description of main character, what if it's an ensemble piece? Great question. Treat your ensemble like they are one character. So you would say a group of retired bank robbers, okay? A group of, desert hookers, definitely. Definitely. So, we know that within that group of desert hookers, there's going to be all kinds of different hookers, where we know that all the personalities are going to come out. Okay? And it could be that when you're talking about the second act activity is when you start to split them off and say, okay, this, smart hooker does this, okay? And a naive hooker gets in her way by doing that, in the case that we get that sense. Yes? It's more directed toward what is that big thing in the third act that they have to do to solve their problems. And it makes us think, will they do it or won't they do it? So let's go to Silver Linings Playbook for a second, okay? So now they must win the contest and get at least a score of 5. Or they'll lose, yeah, the family business and the love of the ex-wife, okay? So it's that specific, and it doesn't go on to say what happened at the dance or anything like that. We're going to read it and then find out if they succeed or fail. Okay. You're welcome to take it from a couple other people first. Yes?
I'm having trouble with my ensemble piece because my group are mismatched group.
Uh-huh.
That's the only thing I can come up with.
Then you can say a mismatched group of blank. They're probably still from the same environment, same town, same, right? Okay, so you can say a mismatched group of, or an eclectic group of, or, that kind of thing. So we understand that there's going to be that natural conflict within them. Good, yes?
What is a supporting character that actually gets introduced, in the middle part she doesn't come up, and in the ending she comes up again? Is it relevant to say that?
I think then that supporting character shouldn't probably be in the pitch, because that supporting character isn't actually moving the story and isn't part of the subplot very much. It's just a supporting character. I'm going to take a couple more and then I'm going to talk about the TV pitch. Yes?
When you have a true to life story,
and it's actually involving your own ancestors, should you mention that it's your own ancestors or treat it as characters?
Well, it's interesting. You could start by saying, you know, this is what I discovered about my family, and sort of give this hook right up front. And then go in. So my project focuses on, and then you could say this person, you know, and start describing them as a character. All right. But the fact that it's real, it's about you, is part of the magic of this. But tell us the discovery first. If you say something like, you know, I went on to genealogy.com, you know, right? But you found out something that made you write this. There's probably a really great story there. We're not going to third act strategy anything, okay? So again, you can give the premise. And I gave a what if but it could be anything. I mean, in this case, you're going to talk usually about characters who are in some kind of conflict-ridden setting, okay? So it's usually an ensemble of people, and they're in some kind of environment that lends itself to weekly conflict. So it could be a sitcom where you've got, you know, 4 nerdy guys who move in with each other, or who are forced to, you know, spend every waking moment with each other. Okay, there's some conflict there. Or it could, again, be something as volatile as a hospital situation or a police station, something like that. But you're going to definitely give sort of an overview of the TV series. So then we go to the show summary. Title of show is a format and genre in the vein of similar show or project. It follows main character and ensemble. Okay, remember this is big, it's a big show. Okay, so usually there's a pivotal main character and an interesting ensemble. Sometimes it's just an ensemble of people. Sometimes it's just one main character, but most of the time that person is surrounded by somebody. As they, week-to-week activity, okay? As they struggle with hospital red tape while trying to save lives and also being forced to work together, okay? Week-to-week activity, giving sort of that general sense of what they have to do. Problems occur when? A series of weekly complications. You can list them, okay? And again, but be general about it. Now, do you have to use this language? No. But I would love, love, love for you to get a sense of format and genre, what it's like, who we're focusing on, week-to-week activity, and the kind of complications that are going to come up. That will give an overview of the show. Then, turn the page, you would go into the pilot. So then you'd say, well, so in our pilot follows. Okay? Nope? Is something wrong? Okay, all right. Just go through and check. Okay, so our pilot follows the name of the main character as he or she pursues a goal, and then problems occur when, and now he or she must strategy. Now, does that mean it's a third act strategy? No, your pilot may not fall into 3 acts at all. Okay, but it means that it's a strategy potentially for the entire series. Usually in a pilot, you've got, if it does focus on one person, they're thrown into this environment and end up having a strategy by the end of the pilot for dealing with this environment. And week to week, we're going to see how that strategy is employed and how it works or doesn't work. Okay, so overview of the TV show and then pitch the pilot. You can also then go in to describing the characters more. Feel free, because characters are the things that make the show. Okay? So if up front you said, here's this group of people in this environment, they're going to do this from week to week, and in the pilot we follow this one person as he tries this, and he's going to do this from week to week. Now, what's going to be interesting is that there are all these characters around him, and they're going to create all kinds of complications for him. There's this person, and describe her and what she brings to the show. And there's this person, and describe him and what he brings to the show. So feel free to integrate the characters as much as possible, because in TV, it's all about the characters. Don't talk about every character then. Okay?
Not every character like Mrs. say the main character.
If
But
it-
multiple storylines.
If you stay on point, it won't take you longer than 5 minutes. You're going to be amazed at how long 5 minutes is. Okay? So, on the other hand, if you do ramble on too much and you've got other projects to pitch, you'll be amazed at how short 5 minutes is. So, this at least should keep you on point. Big, small, smaller still. Okay? Think about that with TV. Okay? So, they're going to look at all the things that you have in your portfolio and decide what to do with them. Oh, all right, we've got a web series here, and you've got a TV show. Oh, I see that you're also working on a feature. All right, great. Well, based on your voice, we could take this TV show here. Maybe we can highlight you as a web writer here, and we'll save this feature, and I'll be helping you develop it a little bit. Give it to me. I'll give you some notes. That person is managing a career. An agent sells it. Okay. Now, everybody must say, like, oh, I want an agent. Well, not necessarily. Don't you want somebody taking care of your career? Okay, an agent doesn't have time to take care of your career, which is why, about a decade ago, managers became so important for the process. Okay, because now an agent knows, oh, okay, I've got a manager who's taking care of the writer. When that's ready, that will go to me, the agent, and I can sell it. Okay, managers are not allowed legally to negotiate. Okay, they don't have the right certification or whatever it is. Okay. And agents don't have the time to do what managers do. And that's why you need both. And that's why, as a writer, you're not going to get rich. Because all these people are taking money from you. But right for now, you know what? Let them take it, right? It's imaginary money at this point. Okay? Let them take it all. Oh, no. Here you go. All right. You can always fight in the second script. But so when you're with a manager, make sure and let them know how flexible you are and how imaginative you are and all the things that you've done. Okay, if you've done comic book work, playwriting, all of that stuff is going to matter. With an agent, you are going to pitch a little bit more particularly your project because they're going to want to know what there is to sell. And instead of me just talking about it, let's look at this. Okay, I'm a writer or director or both. Okay, define yourself. You could even get more specific. I'm a, comedy television writer. Okay, I'm a film director. Okay, just define who you are. Who specializes in medium and genre? I guess I just repeated myself. So I'm a writer director who specializes in writing for the web or dark comedy. My style could best be described as adjective. Okay. But in this case, what I'm trying to say is let them know who you are, what you like to write, okay, and what your style is. Okay? I draw inspiration from themes, issues, life experiences. Do you have to say all these things in order? Not at all. Okay? But as part of the conversation of a manager or agent getting to know who you are and what you do, think about these things. Okay? And I'm excited because I've recently completed a project, gotten recognition from a competition, had encouragement from a producer, or maybe, finished a script in a 48-hour deadline. Okay? All those things say personal success and potentially professional success. Now, about my projects, I have a number of types of projects with genre. So you might say here, okay, I've got 3 projects I want to tell you about. One is a comedy feature. One is an 8-episode web series, etc. Okay? And then they might say, okay, well, tell me about this one. Okay, well, this one is in the vein of this. It's called This, and it's about log line. Turn the page. Now, you just did a little pitch of it right there. You don't have to go into an entire minute pitch unless they say, well, tell me more. Well, now you have your minute pitch, and you can expand upon it. If you're just saying, okay, it's this genre, here's the log line, and now you can just say, I see it. Tell them how you see it as a summer blockbuster, an indie sleeper, an HBO series, a network sitcom. Okay? Give them the vision for how you see all these projects. Now, you could also mention it already has interest from these investors, some producers, that guy at table number 5, okay, or a fan base, okay. If you have something on YouTube and you've already got hundreds of thousands of hits on this character that you've integrated into one of your projects, a manager or agent wants to know that because you now bring a guaranteed audience, especially an agent. That means money, okay. Now, transmedia and cross-platform potential for my project includes, all right, I used to put this out and people would be like, oh no, but now everybody I think knows that projects live on all kinds of platforms at one time, and that means more eyes on them and more potential money for you. So, you could talk about how you imagine that while this TV show is going on, it could also be a great web series in this way. You know, or maybe there's going to be an ongoing blog from a character's point of view in your feature here. You know, or maybe you're going to turn it into a video game. Okay? So there's all kinds of ways that you can suggest, especially if a manager asks about it, that your material has cross-platform potential. Okay? If you've never thought about it, then that's a good time to think about it. That doesn't mean that you have to come up with, you know, a whole other pitch of something in another medium you're not comfortable with. But I want you to at least have an answer, okay? Because if they hit you with something like, well, do you have any kind of, you know, chemistry on the internet in any kind of way, have an answer, okay? That doesn't mean you're going to do it, just have an answer. Now, about my career. Every manager or agent I talk to tells me that they want to know what somebody's goal is. What's their main goal? Because if you sit there and go, I don't see anything, you know, right? They can't market you. They can't focus it. So my main goal is to be staffed on a TV show, to make a living as a feature writer, or some other goal, whatever it is that you would love to have as your career in the industry. Define it and be ready to talk about it. Now, I also have interest in, because of course here's the other side of it, they want to know that you have one goal, but would you be open to, right? So, I also have interest in maybe pursuit of another creative goal, such as writing comic books, playwriting, okay? So that also tells a manager or agent, okay, I can make money off of you in other ways too. I think your agency would be a great fit because. Okay? And this goes with also the production companies as well, everybody that you're meeting with. What's great about this Pitch Fest is they give you this little book, and it tells you about all the companies and what they're looking for. Plus, there's something on the internet called IMDb, right? So, and Google. So, if you've sort of narrowed your search down to certain companies, do a little homework. Find out what it is they made and have something specific and complimentary to say to them. So for an agency, if they've represented certain clients, you know, you can compliment them on their taste and their genre expertise or their storytelling. So you might not always know these things, but I think that the agents, producers, like being on a date, want to feel like you get them. You get them a little bit, okay? Now, finally, as a new client, I offer unique qualities, some different kind of perspective, an interesting voice, or a built-in audience. So, do you have to answer all these things in the order and have this all scripted out? No. But if you're going to meet with management and agents, fill this out tonight. Define who you are, how you write, what you would like to do for your industry living, and quickly logline and type those projects that you have, and you'll be ready. You'll be ready for this conversation with management. I want you to remember that a Pitch Fest, even though it can get a little daunting in terms of lines and bells and all this stuff, when you really sit down and pitch, it's an intimate experience. You're just having a conversation with somebody. So yes, I'm giving you a script, but then I want you sort of to know it and get off of it. All right? Sit down, have a conversation, FaceTime with somebody, tell them about yourself, tell them about your project, convince them to read it without being desperate, okay? Make a friend. Even if they don't want the script, You're making a relationship. And I know that that sounds corny. You've probably heard it from a million people, but we can't stress it enough. Pitch fests are about making relationships. And in LA, relationships matter. It is one huge step toward making an eventual sale.